Tourism, regional directors of tourism, permanent secretaries and Hotel and Tourism Association executives, tourism and health officers for the Caribbean Tourism Organization, the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, and the Caribbean Public Health Agency member countries, allied and affiliate members, expert speakers and presenters with us, representatives of regional and international partner organizations, members of the media, specially invited guests, and you, our esteemed forum attendees, good morning. I am Sharon Banfield-Boffel, Director of Resource Mobilization and Development here at the Caribbean Tourism Organization, and I'm pleased to welcome everyone to this Regional Health and Wellness in the Tourism Virtual Forum. Thank you all for joining us as we explore the theme, Revisiting Health and Wellness, New Frontiers for Caribbean Tourism. Today's session will provide an update on what has been achieved and what's next in the context of health and wellness post-COVID-19. Additionally, it will examine tourism health and wellness market trends and the resources and opportunities available for Caribbean tourism competitiveness and to enhance resilience. To start us on our way, I'm pleased to introduce Mr. Neil Walters, Acting Secretary General of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, to deliver the opening remarks.
Thank you very much, Sharon, and thank you all for joining. I echo Sharon's welcome. Welcome to you all. It's a very important discussion that we hope to have here today. As Sharon said, this is very important in this period in which we are currently functioning. The Caribbean Tourism Organization is pleased to collaborate with its regional partners, the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, CHTA, and the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, to jointly host this Health and Wellness Forum under the theme, Revisiting Health and Wellness, New Frontiers for Caribbean Tourism. It is my pleasure to formally open and welcome you all to the forum. It has been almost 4 years since the advent of the global COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 came with debilitating challenges and today remains a very real threat to lives, livelihoods, and by extension, social and economic growth. Beyond the immediate negative impacts, including business closures, layoffs, and the global contraction of travel and tourism, the COVID-19 pause provided an opportunity to re-strategize and plan for the future of Caribbean tourism. The period in which we are now functioning after the main effects of the pandemic has highlighted the often overlooked need to enhance the sustainability and the resilience of our people, in particular those working in the various subsectors of tourism. It has equally highlighted the need to diversify the regional tourism product, and in addition to care for the planet, which provides the natural resource base on which the industry depends. We are pleased that across our public and private sectors, the Caribbean has often set the industry benchmark for tourism, health, and safety response, and ultimately recovery. Health, safety, and service are critical facets in the delivery of tourism products and experiences in this new era. Increasingly, tourism service providers are expected to meet the highest standards for service quality, while also providing visitors with an authentic experience in a healthy and safe environment. Notable industry shifts impacting the tourism market post-COVID-19 include, as expected, an increased focus on health and wellness. However, we have also seen the advent of new market segments, including digital nomads, who stay longer in the destination, travelers who care about their environmental impact and footprint, and those who travel for a purpose, which is marked by visitors having an increased desire for meaningful social interactions and actively seeking opportunities to give back, immerse themselves in the local community, and live like a local. This is supported by the ever-increasing popularity of sharing economy and home sharing platforms such as Airbnb, Vrbo, and others. Health and wellness are two important pillars for the future growth and resilience of Caribbean tourism. Beyond planning for the next crisis, the CTO and its partners have recognized the need to reframe the discussions for the tourism sector with health in mind, along with the other potential negative impacts, such as supply chain issues, rising fuel and travel costs, and a looming economic crisis, to name a few. In turn, we seek to explore the many opportunities that can be offered by developing and promoting the wellness tourism market. Equally important is the need to make use of digital technologies to rebrand the regional tourism product, access new visitor markets, and invigorate the visitor experience at the destination and via the online experience. Capitalizing on these opportunities have several policy and practical implications, including information management, the need to enforce standards, and the need to adopt measures and create an enabling environment for local community-based tourism experiences across the tourism value chain. For the region, we have identified as a priority the need to develop and implement strategies to instill both local community and visitor confidence, which is needed to guarantee a safe but also welcoming environment. The CTO is pleased to have been working with CARFA and the CHDA on various initiatives, most of which you will hear about during today's proceedings. I also wish to recognize the contribution and support of the Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB, for financing various interventions to strengthen the tourism and health nexus over the past decade, including CARFA's pioneering Tourism and Health Program, THP, and the more recent Regional Tourism Health Capacity Enhancement and Digitization Project being implemented by the CTO and CHTA. This project was conceptualized to strengthen and implement systems to enhance regional and national collaborative tourism and health management systems, including specific capabilities to support tourism sector adaptation and mainstreaming, the delivery of capacity building activities, and for sensitization and awareness, all via pilot actions in the Bahamas, Barbados, and Belize. The project has the following objectives: the advancement and implementation of the Caribbean Travelers Health Assurance Stamp for Healthier, Safer Tourism, HST, harmonization and expansion of an integrated online visitor information management system, update and implementation of training and capacity building resources. And we will have a more comprehensive update on the project a bit later on in today's proceedings. Today's forum is timely, and presents an opportunity to explore and capitalize on the links between tourism and health and wellness. I trust that the various presentations which will be shared and the discussions held will stimulate ideas and assist in identifying opportunities to utilize the assets in your individual territories to further develop and/or enhance health and wellness tourism in the Caribbean. I am certain the presentations will share insights for how the vision can be achieved and to advance health and wellness in the Caribbean, and that we would have inspired actions towards fulfilling the vision of positioning the region as a wellness tourism destination. I thank you all, and I, like you, look forward to the rest of the information which we shared during today's program. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Walters, for the insightful and very thought-provoking remarks. I feel that it is important to just reiterate something that you said, that the need to develop and implement strategies to instill local community and visitor confidence and to guarantee, safe and welcoming environments must be a priority for all organizations and businesses. So thank you very much once again. I'm now pleased to introduce to you Mrs. Nicola Madden-Gregg, Group Director of Marketing and Sales at the Courtly Hospitality Group and President of the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, to deliver the welcome address entitled Positioning the Caribbean as a Mecca for Health and Wellness Tourism. Over to you.
So as we know, the Caribbean is made up of a fantastic series of destinations, and we at CHTA represent over 33 of those destinations. I wanted to just recap what is a slide that I've been sharing over and over, because I think it's important as we move ahead to look at these various segments. How do we achieve what is a projection for the potential growth of Caribbean tourism over the next 10 years? This WTCC projection is really one that should guide us in how we plan and strategize going forward, with looking at an average rate of 4.5% annually, creating over 1.34 million jobs by 2032. But as we go forward, as Neil pointed out, there are some headwinds that we need to pay attention to. And we also need to ensure that we in the Caribbean are dealing with some of these challenges, and also looking at new market segments, which is what we're addressing today. So for some of the ones that I thought I should highlight, better crisis preparedness. We came through the pandemic strong, working together with CTO, CARFA, or National Hotel Associations, all our governments. And it is something that we learned a lot from. So we need to ensure that we continue to partner together and to learn from those experiences. So collaboration is key. I also wanted to share that this level of collaboration led to the Caribbean recovering as one of the fastest regions in the world. So we are this is the first quarter, 1% behind our 2019 forecast, while total international inbound is still at -31%. The Americas -18, Asia Pacific -54. So this says something about the resilience of the Caribbean product, and it's very important that we don't lose sight of this resilience. We have destinations that have been in double-digit performance for the year already in terms of recovering from their 2019 numbers. And this is an excellent springboard for us to continue to grow as a region. This is some of the regions that have been really outperforming based on their source markets. Out of the USA, you see Curacao and Grenada. For France, you have St. Martin, Puerto Rico, and from Argentina, you have Curacao and Jamaica. Some cases, triple-digit growth. We're also seeing that premium airfares are also growing at a faster rate than economy versus pre-pandemic levels. This is important because it means that we have a more affluent traveler that is coming to the Caribbean. And that is also a part of what we have to consider when we're designing our strategies going forward. The forecast for spring into summer is very good and positive. We're looking at 20% over 2019 for spring and 48% for the summer period. So the Caribbean is commanding its share of the market and is seeing growth. But what does this mean in the big scheme of the wellness market? And there is, you see that this is quite an opportunity for us to really focus on as a region. That market is in billions of dollars. You see the wellness tourism, 436 billion, as was seen in 2020. And the overall global wellness market was at 4.4 trillion. So wellness tourism is booming. There's 1.2 billion wellness trips a year, and this is based on 2021 data. And we see that in 2022, we had up to 191 billion in global tourism in terms of wellness. So it's an expanding market. And we see that 4.5 hours spent each day by holidaymakers is doing a combination of wellness activities. So they may not have traveled just for wellness, but they will participate in wellness activities, while you do have those that travel specifically for wellness. I wanted to just think a little bit about the differentiation between medical tourism and wellness tourism. And I think it's important that we frame our conversations and the potential around these two aspects of the market. Medical tourism, of course, is more reactive. It has to do with treatment. It's usually motivated by a lower cost of care, higher quality care, better access to care, or care not available at home. So this is an element of the market that the Caribbean can focus on. But at the same time, there is the more proactive side where people travel to maintain, manage, or improve their health and well-being. They're motivated by a desire for healthy living, disease prevention, stress reduction, big one, management of poor lifestyle habits, and/or authentic experiences. And I think this is something that the Caribbean definitely has in droves, the ability to provide authentic experiences. So these actives are proactive, voluntary, non-invasive, and usually non-medical in nature. So what is the wellness traveler seeking to do? This traveler is looking to have mind-body experiences, spiritual connections, personal growth, eco and adventure, fitness, healthy eating. So there's quite a spectrum of activities, spa and beauty and health, that they want to experience. So whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, environmental, or social, within this scheme of things, there are lots of options and opportunities for not only tourism entities, but also other suppliers in the industry and in the tourism value chain to provide authentic experiences for our visitors. And that is something that we really need to focus on and have a lot of effort and policy around. So during the pandemic, we saw that there was a lot of movement. Hold on a second, going to the next slide. And I'm not sure about here we go. So during the pandemic, we saw that consumer taste and behavior change had accelerated, and there was an increase or marked appetite for alternative tourism offerings. This was evidenced by an increasing trend toward the demand for nature-based and holistic treatments. The COVID-19 pandemic and also the impact of social media has also created what we call a loneliness endemic. People want to feel connected. They want authentic experiences. Mental health is something that is a major challenge for persons all over the world. The level of isolation that was brought about by the pandemic. And we are seeing that this has gained traction over the last 10 years, but has skyrocketed in the past few years. And this is, again, an opportunity to provide these unique, authentic experiences, an ability for persons to connect, an ability for them to really immerse themselves in a destination. So we're going beyond, way beyond sun, sea, and sand, and looking into the desires, the taste, and the more behavioral nature of a visitor, and not so much the physical plant in terms of the hotel. You know, it's more about connections, not only in terms of what they experience, but with people. So this is a very important part. There's an increased demand for detox treatments, purging of emotional, physical, and mental toxins, spa treatments. So you're seeing more spiritual and wellness retreats, soft adventure, sports tourism, and family retreats, which we are seeing people traveling in generational groups. The Caribbean has an opportunity because we have accommodation of all types. As Neil mentioned, not only formal accommodation, but we also have so many villas, apartments in the shared economy. So you can get a wealth of experiences and create and design experiences for medium-sized, small, micro to very large groups. We have exceptional dining experiences, over 5,000 attractions and excursions. We are the world's most popular cruise destination and the most desirable place for romance. So the Caribbean basically has all the factors, all the key factors to really go very, very strongly into this segment. We have significant airlift, we have our natural environment, sun, sea, sands, mountains, rivers, valleys, as I mentioned, variety of accommodation and attractions, numerous day spas, trails and caves, many off the beaten path, because that is also a part of what people are looking to do now, to go somewhere that has very few people have gone before, to have unique, authentic experiences. Of course, our people, we have excellent hospitality, and we have indigenous ingredients that are perfect for unique health and beauty products. We have improving healthcare systems, as well as I said, we have fresh fruits, vegetables, and natural organic ingredients with endemic flora and fauna. There is so much that we take for granted in the Caribbean, and these are things that maybe we need to share more of and actually explore a little bit more the natural side of things and ensure that we are sharing all of the organic ingredients and the natural ingredients that we have throughout the Caribbean. So of course, as I mentioned, food and gastronomy, sports, hiking, lots of 5Ks, marathons, bird watching, all of these things form a part of the health and wellness experience. So these are things that can be combined to create attractive itineraries. But as I said, it's not only for a stopover, but also the cruise market and adventure and cruise, as well as health and wellness, are combined through many of our destinations. This is just a snapshot of some of these very exciting opportunities to explore, escape, and indulge. So soft adventure is again another part of that health and wellness, the mental state, getting you to a different space in a different time and enjoying the natural beauty of the Caribbean. So let us delve a little bit more into the opportunities. As I mentioned, hiking, biking, nature trails and walks. Gastronomy, this is a very big plant-based cuisine. In Jamaica, we have Ital cuisine, which is, we're promoting that very aggressively here, but there is also this need to have more farm-to-table experiences. See where my food is coming from, go to the farm and see how this is produced, the organic nature of it, and just have that kind of experience. Yoga and meditation retreats, volunteerism. We are seeing more and more missions that are coming, medical missions as well. So that's more on the medical side, as well as persons who just want to do charitable work and form a part of their own mental state that I'm giving back to the world. So it is not just in terms of things that are more spa related, but as I said, mental experiences. Again, creating unique Caribbean treatments. We can look at medical tourism, non-invasive procedures that allow for privacy for discovery, expanding our wellness products, creating skincare, spa, and infusions from our natural products here. Blending sustainable and responsible travel as a part of the wellness experiences. Focusing on energy and environmental management, which a lot of persons are looking like. What is our carbon footprint like? What are we doing as destinations to ensure that the planet is healthy? These are all a part of what we can look at. Looking at joint ventures and community tourism, again, promoting that authenticity. Looking at the blue economy, which is a new frontier for us in terms of what the ocean can bring to us. We have worked over the last few months at CHTA on our coral reef management and sustainability program. And this is something where you see persons are more keen to be a part of taking care of the planet in a responsible way. So in essence, planet health is the key to our health. So when we talk about health and wellness, it is also remembering that people are looking to be a part of the healthy solution for our planet as they look to be a part of the healthy solution for themselves. So it is the broad spectrum of individual needs as well as global needs. So as we mentioned, there are many projects that have been happening with CTO as well and CHTA. We talked about our coral reef restoration and preservation, but looking at eco-tours, sea turtle experiences, bringing in educational programs as a part of the sustainable travel and wellness experience. So again, wrapping this all around the whole thing of healthy me, healthy you, healthy planet. I just want to spend a little bit more time on the linkages element of it. As I mentioned, there are products and services, and we can definitely create very unique products, scrubs, spa products, hair products, facial products, using our indigenous ingredients. And this path is a part of the linkages journey as far as health and wellness is concerned. This allows us for tourism to be a driver at the front end with the actual experience of the activities, but on the back end for manufacturing and agriculture to be able to participate and give, create new products and services which can be used for the experiences, but also can be exported. So it's looking again at an industry, not only just for tourism, but also linking agriculture and manufacturing. So what is our action plan that I would suggest we focus on going forward? Definitely, we need to look at policy, developing a brand for the Caribbean, first and foremost, as a health and wellness destination. We need to be known for this. Right now, we are known for Sun, Sea, and Sand. We're known for our music. We're known for certain things, but we're not yet known for health and wellness. And so this whole seminar, this whole webinar is a step in the right direction to start letting us think, how do we position ourselves as a health and wellness destination? How do we strengthen the ecosystem for medical and wellness tourism? How do we enable digitization to increase effectiveness and market penetration? How do we promote wellness tourism? How do we implement governance and institutional frameworks that will support the market and establish a regional and national association to support SMEs with policy level initiatives and to adapt international accreditation and certification? We also need to look at establishing regional and national policies and possibly looking at incentives to promote investments in the sector. We should also look at cross-border MOUs with established health and wealth destinations to engender knowledge transfer and reduce the learning curve. Right now, we're in deep discussions on the EU-EPA agreement, and this may be a good framework to attract investment partners, particularly as it mentions spa and spa services as one of the elements in that agreement. And if my last slide will go down. Oops. So in essence, I'm going to close there because just wanted to again establish that these are all great first steps for us to move forward in terms of an implementation plan. And we definitely at CHD are looking forward to work with CARPHA and CTO to see how we can strengthen the ecosystem and also work towards developing the Caribbean brand of health and wellness so that we can move forward, not only as I guess on the front end in terms of the experiences, but driving the linkages on the back end to support agriculture and manufacturing to promote new products and services. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Madden-Gregg. We appreciate these keen insights from your vantage point as an industry professional on the front line of things. One of our many takeaways from Mrs. Madden-Gregg's presentation is the importance of continued and even improved collaboration and partnership in the region, as we've seen the success that this approach has brought about as collectively we address the increased health and wellness needs of our industry and our guests. And as we work on those items that were listed just now in that action plan that was shared. So thank you again, Mrs. Madden-Gregg. I just want to pause here now to invite speakers and presenters to open their cameras so that we can quickly have an official photo taken before we proceed with the next items on the agenda. So if I can have everyone turn on their cameras. Thank you so much. And Amanda, I'm going to ask you to take that photo for us, please. Let me know when you have it and we can proceed. Yes, great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, on this Wellness Wednesday, I have a few housekeeping announcements before I introduce the first presenter. There are 3 presentation segments, and there will be an opportunity for question and answer at the end of each session. Questions are to be placed in the Zoom Q&A feature. Please, not in the chat feature, in the Q&A feature. And participants should include their name and the name of the speaker or the presenter to whom the question is being addressed. So for example, if you had a question or wanted to provide any feedback to Mrs. Madden-Gregg, whom we just heard from, please do put that in the Q&A feature, and she will take a look at it, or we will ensure that it gets addressed at some point as we go through the morning. I will direct the questions to all the relevant persons, and then they will have the option of either responding verbally, and we have to be very cognizant of time, so they may choose to respond actually within the Q&A feature. They may type their response, okay? So it's not anticipated that they will be able to respond to every question due to our time limitations, but we will attempt to capture any unanswered questions and aim to provide responses as part of our follow-up to this event, okay? Right, so I'm now pleased to introduce Dr. Lisa Indar, the Director, Surveillance, Disease Prevention and Control Division at the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, who will deliver a presentation and update on the Regional Tourism Health Program. What's new and what's next? Dr. Indar, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. It's our pleasure. Sharon, can you confirm you're hearing me?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Right, great. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to thank the CTU for inviting us on this important initiative. I'm going to share my screen. Why it's not coming up? We just did this. Back.
Just select the PowerPoint app, the PowerPoint window from all that's coming up.
Here we go. Can you confirm you are seeing that?
Yes, we're seeing it. Thank you.
Great. So I have the pleasure, after Ms. Madden's excellent presentation that sets the stage on why tourism is so important for the Caribbean, I have the pleasure now to talk about that aspect of improving health and wellness and how CARPHA works with the CTU and the CHTA to partner to really make the Caribbean experience even more unique in terms of promoting health and wellness. So the THP is the Regional Tourism and Health Program. And the first question people may ask is why have health and tourism? Well, COVID-19 kind of showed us that, it devastated tourism and it really demonstrated the need to have health intertwined, interwoven into tourism so that we would have a better, a safer, a healthier, safer tourism product. We know that the health of our economies is closely related because we are the most tourism dependent region. We offer a unique tourism. We are the most popular cruise destination. What we see at CARPHA, the Public Health Agency, we see that the first case of many of our illnesses are imported. So the first case, for instance, of COVID-19 and all of its variants came through travel. But travel and tourism is our bread and butter. So we have to protect and we have to ensure we have systems in place to rapidly identify any form of disease introduction and spread so that we can stop that and rapidly mitigate so that we would ensure it doesn't negatively impact on tourism. So this is why we created the Regional Tourism and Health Program to really look at the health, safety, and environmental challenges to tourism. So we can strengthen the tourism sector, your capacity to prepare for and respond to public health threats. So we will enhance the health and safety, and I'm going to add wellness of this to visitors and locals. We can then improve tourism resilience and economic sustainability and protect and promote this unique Caribbean tourism that we have. It is executed by CARPHA in collaboration with CTU and CHT. And when this program started way back in 2014, it started with that MOU between CARPHA and CTU. So the slide describes the program when we discussed this program a while ago, some of these things were not there. But this is the entire program in a nutshell now, that we would have developed many different, we call them regional public goods, that are available to the tourism sector for use for improving health and well-being. We started very early with creating a tourism and health information system. We call that an information system, so in that it rapidly collects information in a confidential manner, so that we can be able to mitigate and see if there are any threats, any alerts, so that you can be able to stop that spread as soon as possible. The tourism and health information system was designed for accommodation, and it was expanded to restaurants and to operators and to airlines and so on. So anything that is land-based tourism. The sister to that is the Caribbean Vessels and Surveillance System that looks at infections that are occurring in cruise ships, so that we can, where we alert the chief medical officers in countries of illnesses and ships that are coming to them before the ship arrives, so that the country ensures that sick persons stay on board and that you can reduce spread. So those are our monitoring. We call them early warning and response systems, in that you monitor information for rapid response. The hallmark of all of these is that no identifier is needed. It protects the person. They are based on trends and alerts for response, and they are confidential. To support that, we have regional guidelines for response to travelers' accommodation, traveler illnesses and accommodations and ships. What do we mean by that? When an illness occurs, you need to know what type of syndrome you're dealing with and what is the best way to respond. So these regional guidelines are instructional guidelines that tells you what to do, how to do it, and who has to do it. So they are very important. The updated ones are now the ones that we have updated since the last set, and they will be printed throughout this year. To support that, we do a lot of capacity building. We would have started previous to COVID with advanced food safety training, training in outbreak investigation, norovirus, and so on. And then during COVID, we did a lot of training with CTO and CHTA for prevention and control of COVID-19 infections in the hospitality sector. And we have now changed, expanded to other types of infections. Another set of tools we now have, last year we launched 7 regional hospitality, healthy, safety, and environmental standards, which are operational standards now available for use. All of this is supported by policy. There is a policy that both ministers of health and tourism has agreed for reporting of illnesses so that you can reduce spread. And we have partnerships with every major health agency and then tourism sectors so that we can mitigate a seamless flow. To add to that, the two most recent tools is the Caribbean Travelers Health Assurance Stamp. And this is an award or a recognition stamp for facilities that are implementing proactive health measures. So it gives the traveler added confidence. Come to the Caribbean, look for persons who have the stamp. This is what Ms. Madden was talking about in terms of regional mechanisms for health and safety. And all of that is put in our Travelers Health app. So the program is a combination of surveillance or monitoring, capacity building, guidelines, training, standards of operation, and a recognition award. So it's comprehensive. The World Health Organization has recognized the 2HP as its only program. We are part of the UNWTO that has recognized, the only health organization, the UNWTO, that has recognized us for improving sustainability in tourism. When COVID came, we expanded all of our work, and this is some of the new things we would have done to ensure we are responding faster and better. So for instance, the Tourism and Health Information System We expanded it to from hotels to guest houses and events and tour operators. We strengthened our Caribbean vessel surveillance system. We increased advocacy. We created guidelines for reopening, and these are all available on our website for food and beverage, for resuming travel, and so on. And we created a COVID-19 tourism task force with CTO, CHTA, and others that really allowed us for harmonized messaging. How do we message to the public to keep promoting tourism, but keep protecting tourism as well? So there are lots of benefits. To the health side, from where we sit, we see it as preventing disease introduction and spread. We see it as being able to have mechanisms for rapid response. So we create healthier, safer populations. But from the tourism sector, for the hospitality sector, this enhances your recognition, your reputation, and gives you a competitive marketing ability. What do we mean by that? Nowhere in the world there's a program that allows for this unique partnership and allows for this type of system to be operational, where you are measuring and you are promoting response. So having the stamp allows for that. Having the training allows for building that type of capacity. And if you are recognized more, if you have more reputation, if your reputation is enhanced, you would have more arrivals, more profits. It gives you an advantage of a healthier, safer tourism product. Mr. Walters spoke about that, that allows the visitor who is demanding more wellness to say, well, I have a choice, an option of choosing a healthier, safer option when I come to the Caribbean. And it's not just the accommodation, but the events, the tour operators that they choose, the taxi drivers that they choose. The tourism sector also gets a free internal health tracking system that's confidential, because you are the ones who are getting the alert if something is happening. And it allows for a rapid response where CARPHA and countries would respond to you in a confidential manner. So it reduces entry, it reduces liabilities, and so on. And this is a good time to segue in why this program was created. You know, several years ago, we had an outbreak in a country. It was a norovirus outbreak, a tourism-dependent country. And it started with a little boy who came in with his parents, was vomiting from the back of a taxi to the front. This is called projectile vomiting. At that time, the taxi driver was unaware. He cleaned his taxi, and then the child went to an all-inclusive environment. The child was hugged, so it means this bug was being transmitted from person to person. Overnight, the number of cases in that particular hotel went up to 50 cases. Of course, the general norm is for the accommodation not to report this. They would have tried to deal with it. But then within 2 days, it went up to 300 cases. And by the end of the week, it was 500 cases, 800 cases. And then it went and extended to other hotels in the country. So the country was alerted, the Ministry of Health was alerted when it had almost reached 500 cases. This bug turned out to be norovirus. Norovirus was one of those bugs that spreads very, very quickly from person to person, through the air, through the environment. It stays on environment for a long time. And the only way to get rid of it is to deep clean and sanitize. Now, how do you deep clean and sanitize a restaurant, a pool, because it stays in the pool water and it can stay on pitchers and so on for long? You have to remove your guests. So whenever there's norovirus in an establishment or in a ship, the ship has to return or the hotel has to be closed so that you can deep clean and sanitize. The premier of that country got up and said, I spend millions of dollars on my tourism product. One bug destroyed my tourism. There was a 30% decline in tourism. And he turned to CARPHA to say, what are you all doing about tourism and improving the health and tourism? And this was the reason we created this comprehensive program. So we are in many countries. So in about 22 countries, they're implementing different segments. We have about 13 that have actually launched, and we will continue to expand, as you see here. What is the impact? Why is this important? Well, we have the biggest impact is early warning, monitor, and response so that we can reduce or or stop spread. Through the tourism and health information system and the cruise ship system, we have been able to capture, 12,100 test reports, and where we have been able to record 636 CBS alerts just in the last 2 years. We have been able to build capacity in prevention and control. We have trained over 8,000 persons in the tourism sector. The award, this HST stamp, is that award that tells you this particular facility is implementing proactive health measures. And you are freely recognized and promoted on the Travelers Health mobile app, as well as the CARPHA websites, and this is going to be linked to our international agencies. You do have operational standards, you have guidelines to response, and our unique partnerships allows for that seamless flow. And I wouldn't go through all of this because these are a lot of numbers and you would get it, but I want to show a bit of some of the things we do produce. So the numbers here about the information systems are outlined in this document. What's important to note here though, even though we have had these alerts and these numbers, you haven't seen this data anywhere. That's the confidentiality of the system. You haven't heard that Hotel X has this outbreak, or there's an increased case, or this particular hotel, is going through, has an outbreak of this particular illness. These were responded to within 24 hours in a confidential manner. This is what the tourism sector has as their benefit, that big response where these alerts are occurring. If they were not addressed, it would have increased like that norovirus outbreaks, the large numbers, and you would have seen not just the negative press, but the negative repercussion of decline in arrivals. So with respect, I wanted to just talk about, we are the most popular cruise ship destination, but we have seen a lot of COVID-19 cases. So you would notice there since this started in October 21, the number of alerts, we would have seen, and you would have seen an increase, of course, during the high season, during December to March, February, and then now it has started again. What we are also seeing is an increase now in AGE or gastroenteritis, which is turning out to be norovirus. Why am I saying all this? I'm saying this because we do alert the countries. We tell them about the outbreaks, but it's important now for the tourism sector to be aware because persons are coming in and they are mingling, and we have to implement measures of hand washing, of safety, of distancing as much as possible. And tourism is a social business, but how do we also protect ourselves? Because outbreaks are occurring. One of the biggest success, or I want to say outbreaks we had, was earlier this year, where we had a ship that was coming in with, more than 4% COVID cases, 4% of the population in the cruise ship, as well as an outbreak of norovirus. And that numbers was so high, we would have alerted the country in a confidential manner before the ship was arrived. And because the numbers were so high in this particular situation, practice was not granted. But we have alerted many alerts, as you see here, over 1627 alerts. And hotels are not closed or ships are not turned around because the alert is early, and mitigation, including persons are kept isolated, you deal with the sickness very quickly, you don't allow them to disembark, and so on. That is done beforehand. And through the test system, we have picked up some outbreaks. We had a big outbreak, a multi-hotel outbreak in December, and you haven't seen this anywhere because we would have dealt with it. Right now, there's also outbreaks that are occurring in our countries involving visitors. You don't see the name of hotels, but we are dealing with that. This is the Caribbean Travelers. All of this helps to get the Caribbean Travelers Health stamp. This stamp is the only stamp that we are aware of that is measurable, meaning that we monitor and we measure before the stamp is awarded. And you would expect nothing less from a public health agency. To get the stamp, you have to go through the training because we want to build your capacity. 10% of your staff has to go through training, and we want you to use the system. Once you have the stamp, you're also eligible for the World Travel Tourism Safe Travel Stamps. And we have a lot of testimonials which we wouldn't go through, but you know how the stamp is being used, and you know for a marketing from a marketing perspective. And it was endorsed by the WPTC in terms of promoting safe and sustainable travel. This is the app, and I will go a bit quicker because I'm aware of the time, but the app is your one-stop travel, and you see that green icon, you can go there for the listing, where you can see the listing of those with the stamp. But more importantly, to you coming to the Caribbean, you want to find out about the destinations, their health centers and so on, their requirements. You go to the blue and the purple, the pink app. If you want to find out if you want to report an illness, you can report on the purple app. A lot of this is done through our partnerships. We have that unique partnership with CTO and CHT, which drives this. And we have since expanded to the Global Tourism Resilience Center, the OECS, and other different entities that you are seeing here. Lots of endorsements from the industry, Mr. Adam Stewart himself, from Ministers of Health, Ministers of Tourism, CTO, CHTA countries. This is the training, and I wanted to talk about this because this is so important, and you would see that we have trained all these different countries over 25 countries in the Caribbean, and we are giving them also a certificate of participation, and this training continues. We would have updated this training, especially for the Carnival, during the Carnival sector, when we started with Trinidad and Tobago, and we have since done this updated training in Bahamas and Guyana. These are the standards that have been launched and are available. Each of these standards has a checklist. So you, the hospitality sector, can use a checklist to say where I am, what are the musts or the priority things I must do, and how do I rate myself. Standards was launched, and there's a lot of testimonials from CTO, CHT, from Dr. Faith Israel, you know, who like the chief medical officer for Tobago, or the director from the Department of Health, talking about the importance. And you will hear from Magdalena today, an industry who have been given the stamp and who are also given the standards for use. What's important to know too is that as a body, CTO, as a work, this joint work between CARPHA, CTO, and CHT, is that we have been recognized on a global platform, not just on the tourism side, but on the health side. The WHO has recognized this and wants to expand this to other countries, and where CARPHA was highlighted as the only program of its kind. We keep promoting. We promote the Caribbean as a healthier, safer option through many different magazines. And we had a nice one on Travel Weekly as the all-inclusive approach to tourism, and a lot of publications on the UNWTO publications that comes out. So this is my last slide. You know, our next steps, we want to encourage hospitality sector to get involved. Right, we're at the moment, we have about almost 900 hotels. We want to target all 2,000 hotels to get on board, because if we strengthen the hotels' capacities and we give them the stamp, we are improving health and wellness for the Caribbean tourism. We are giving a better, more competitive product, a more unique Caribbean tourism product. The stamp is unique, the way the response is unique. You have capacity for rapidly responding to negative events, and it is recognized. We want to keep working with CTO. We want to keep working with CHT and all our partners into really making this a household name, that tourism, health becomes entwined in tourism. The THP is part of part of the mechanisms that CHT and CTO works with for promoting healthier and safer tourism. I don't know if this is played, but Sharon, maybe you would be able to show the video.
Yes, give me a minute. Pause your video and I'll take over.
Hi, is there audio?
Response of public health issues. Travelers now have the added assurance of a healthier, safer option when coming to the Caribbean.
The Caribbean is paradise. You know, we've got lovely people, wonderful cuisine, beautiful beaches, and most importantly, a rich history of Caribbean flavor.
CARPHA, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, is committed to promoting the health and safety of travelers coming to the Caribbean through its novel Travelers Health Program. It allows for real-time monitoring and response of public health issues, supported by training and health, safety, and sanitation standards for our hospitality community. It also provides a measurable Caribbean Travelers Health Assurance Award stamp to hotels and guest houses that are implementing proactive health monitoring and safety measures. Facilities with the stamp are identified on our Caribbean Traveler Health app as a preferred, safer option.
We don't only have the best cricket, but healthy and safe environment.
There is no better time than now for us to work together to ensure that the Caribbean is globally acknowledged for its healthier, safer tourism.
The aim of this program is to improve and enhance the well-being of both our visitor and our local population.
CARPHA, promoting healthier, safer tourism.
Thank you very much, Dr. Indar, for that comprehensive update and for providing us with some insight into, some of the very important initiatives and activities that are being undertaken and even what is still to come. I want to take an opportunity here very quickly to ask Mrs. Madden Gregg whether she has any. I saw a number of questions that came into her, and folks, remember the Q&A is there. You can check, you can leave your feedback. But just to say, would you like to say anything or add anything to what you've communicated to two persons who would have had specific queries?
Just a little expansion on the whole issue of where we should focus. Should we focus more on the medical, more health side of it, or more on the wellness side? What I had responded in the chat is that the wellness side maybe has a little lower barriers to entry. So it's something that we already have a lot of assets in. And so I think it's easier for us as a region to go, full kilt in terms of adding to those experiences and to those assets. On the more medical, serious health side of it, there are some destinations like Cayman that has already done a lot of investment in that part of the whole health and medical tourism. And I think there are destinations that will have capacity to go deeper into that. But I think where we can probably ramp up very quickly and do very well is more on the wellness side. And so it, as I said, lower barriers to entry, and we do have a lot of assets there already.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So ladies and gents, you can go to the Q&A and you will see some of the responses that were given to the questions that were posed. At this time, I'm taking a look and there are no specific questions to Dr. Indar, but as we go through the proceedings, if you have any question, please pose them in there and Dr. Indar will attempt to respond, or we will ensure that any questions that were posed that we didn't get around to during the course of this forum that we will have answered and provide a follow-up. Okay, so thank you once again, Dr. Indar. And following Dr. Indar's presentation, we felt it was important to hear the experience of a country which is participating in the Regional Tourism Health Program, and to learn how a tourism business has utilized the related tools. So this morning we go to Tobago. It's therefore my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Troy Murray. Troy is the restaurant and bar manager at Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort in Tobago, to share their experiences with us. Over to you, Mr. Murray. We're not hearing you, audio. For some reason, we're not hearing you at this time. All right, just let's give Mr. Murray a quick minute to sort his audio out. While he's doing that, I just want to let you know that you will receive a copy of, we will share the recording from today's forum with you. We've had questions about the actual presentations. Please give us an opportunity to secure the permissions of the presenters for soft copies of their presentations, and we will get back to you. Thank you very much. Mr. Murray? Sharon, is there any way of reaching out to Mr. Murray to find out if there's something?
Can you hear us?
Okay. All right, so what we will do, because we do want to hear.
Just mentioned, he's just said something. Mr. Murray, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
If you can speak up a little bit louder, thanks. We can hear you. Maybe you can move the microphone closer to you. Can you move the microphone closer to your closer to yourself? Is that possible?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me clearly?
For the moment, yes.
Okay, fantastic. Hi, my name is Troy Murray. I'm the Food and Beverage Manager, Director of Operations at the Magdalena Grand in Tobago. We are a beach and golf resort. Thank you for the opportunity.
I'm sorry, Mr. Murray, I'm going to have to ask you to pause because your audio is now crackling. I'd suggest perhaps you log out and log back in. And Sharon, I'm not sure where we want to go while he leaves and comes back.
What I can do, yes, what I can do,
Mr. Murray, if you can
while
leave,
Mr. Murray goes out,
come back in, leave
and come back in,
and rejoin on the same link you joined before. Let's see if that.
You heard that, Mr. Murray?
Yes, he did.
Right. So what we will do, if that's okay, we will move on to a presentation, and we'll come back to Mr. Murray for sure because we do want to hear from him. And we wish to invite Miss Zara Duncan, right? It's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Zara Duncan. She is the chairman of the Caribbean Spa and Wellness Association, and she will deliver a presentation on the wellness tourism market, opportunities for Caribbean tourism diversification and competitiveness. So Ms. Duncan, over to you, and then we'll come back to Mr. Murray once we've sorted his technology issues. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, very clearly.
Awesome, so allow me to share my screen. All right, so a pleasant good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, to everyone, to the host of this forum, fellow panelists, and specially invited guests. Thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts on this topic that I'm truly passionate about. I've spent the last 20 years working with international hospitality brands based in the Caribbean. So my view of the wellness world is twofold. One from the corporate world where the possibilities exist when there are resources available, and one from the grassroots where there's limited potential. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Zara Duncombe Edwards. I have worn many hats. I'm a business consultant, spa director, spa educator, certified holistic nutritionist, health coach, and yoga instructor, to name a few. So if there was ever a picture of a wellness entrepreneur, I believe that mine would be there. Now, I'm also the chairman of the now dormant Caribbean Spa and Wellness Association, which I'll speak about a little bit more at the end. But I first want to start by going to one picture that I want you to look at. Now, take a look at this image. Now, if you know where this is and what is being offered, congratulations. But for the 95% of people who see this, we will see what we are usually known for: sun, sand, sea, and serenity. And we have successfully marketed ourselves as this type of experience. And in a post-COVID-19 world, this Caribbean wellness brand needs to be rebuilt, reshaped, and redefined. Now, in defining, based on my experience in Caribbean wellness, what it means, I believe that it is the ultimate blend of indigenous healing traditions and idyllic surroundings where the natural environment, weather, resources, and people come together in a harmonious melting pot of rejuvenation and relaxation. How can we take this identity and create a product that is diverse and can compete globally? Now, that is the question. This presentation will cover 4 main points: the growth potential of the wellness tourism for our region, the unique appeal of Caribbean wellness and wellness business, the need for investment and support, and the post-pandemic opportunities that we have. Now, to start with, the growth potential of wellness tourism for our region, from the first visitor to our region who came for restoration and healing, to the visitor who spent all year researching the best place to go for her anxiety and depression, the intent behind our tourism offerings has not changed. We have consistently marketed our region as one safe, relaxing escape on the global market. And just one quick Google search of wellness spas in the Caribbean or just Wellness Caribbean, and you will see that most of the imagery and the services are the same. Now, the Global Wellness Institute, based on this report, cites that our region, there are 2 most viable economic categories, and that is personal and beauty care and nutrition, food as medicine. Now, that is based on reports from 2020, and as we know, we're in 2023, so a lot has changed and is continuing to change. As a region, we are well represented with local practitioners who are involved in handmade, artisan body care. We have also seen a rise, especially after COVID-19, in local and handmade skincare products throughout the region. Now, with the rise in Airbnb, this has also created a demand in a local dining experience, which has also placed many of our farm-to-table and local dining spots on the forefront. Right now, the majority of our spa and wellness offerings still fit into the standard experience of massage and yoga. But I will note that there has always been a group of wellness custodians in each country in the region that are passionately representing the wellness sector, even though they are underrepresented or unknown. Now, the unique appeal of Caribbean wellness and wellness business is not just a benefit to the tourist client, but it's also a benefit to us. Rather, it will be a benefit to our region as a whole. We are not a one-size-fits-all region, so our solutions for wellness tourism cannot be a one-size-fits-all package. A peek into what is authentically Caribbean reveals a diverse range of well-being experiences, rich heritage, a wide array of natural resources and people, and everything available in one main region with enough consistent weather pattern for people to be able to plan to travel, right? Now, we have a pool of valuable resources in our local artisans, our healers, and therapies. However, there lies an opportunity to become more globally prepared. There are numerous skincare formulators from the Bahamas down to Guyana who are proudly making all the handmade soaps, the handmade scrubs, the lotions, sun care products, which will have us believe that we are achieving in this area. But I would also like to consider what life would look like in our industry if we explore something that is very fundamental, and that is our standards. Our standards and end product produced at what I would consider a quality, or a quality that makes us competitive in the local and international market. Are we really creating an opportunity for our products to compete based on the standards that we produce here? In recent years, we have seen CBD spa and skincare products become popular in both America and Europe. And I use this as an example because, with the exception of Jamaica, there's still a lack of solid presence and involvement in this budding subcategory in the wellness industry. And I want you to consider that the Caribbean is poised to benefit from the current shift to more wellness, well-being, mental wellness overtones of COVID-19. Because what has happened is that there's a movement happening in a few key areas that our industry should pay attention to. And I wanted us to think of these few that you see here. Client demand for deeper experiences when they travel. For resorts and destinations that market themselves as wellness experiences, this no longer stops at just having a massage on the beach or a sunrise yoga class. It translates to services that infuse local surroundings, indigenous practices, and takes care of not just physical, but mental and energetic aspects of the Caribbean and wellness traveler, of the health and wellness traveler. Now, does the wellness product or service solve a specific problem, or does it speak to a specific niche of traveler? Now, this is important to note because we might look at something like pottery creation from local mud pools as an example. Or when you think of sound therapy, it's not just about crystal bowls, but think of sound meditation therapy with instruments being made by seeds and shells harvested from nearby forests and beaches. Outdoor art therapy campsites. We do not have to look far for these type of experiences, as our diversity as a region allow us to pull from a callaloo pot of practices that can be shared with our clients. Now, even though these have been available, I believe that a speed bump we have is that the experience might not always meet the standards of a discerning traveler, or because of the rusticness of this experience, it makes it inaccessible for a segment of the potential market, which requires, of course, exploration of landscape, terrain, and access points. Now, experiences that are built into creating transformation is something that is important because travelers are not just looking for surface level experiences anymore. Mental wellness, physical well-being, health improvement, managing lifestyle illnesses will continue in developed countries where they are now making allowances that are being built into what you call wellness initiatives. Even when it comes to employment contracts, wellness is being built into how people work, how people live, and how people go about their day-to-day lives. So what does that mean for us? We have spent a lot of time as a region as it relates to spa and wellness, educating our service providers on modalities. It will be important for us to think about developing programs to include standardizations or resources for development of our wellness product and what this means for the brand that is Caribbean Wellness. Because of our history, each country's wellness initiative will vary depending on the human, the natural, and the educational resources available to the persons who are custodians of this experience, right? So when you think about a wellness retreat in Dominica, it can and should vary from a wellness retreat in St. Lucia, especially if it is an immersive experience. It could also mean that wellness should look different in Jamaica versus St. Vincent because, of course, there's a unique combination of products, services, and people that make it unique. We also must consider that social media has placed a lot of priority on how visible we are in the global market. And post-COVID, the average visitor who is looking for a wellness vacation doesn't just read TripAdvisor anymore, or even just read the news or just the reviews. They go straight to TikTok and Instagram and Facebook to see what the user experience is. The advantage for the spas and the wellness businesses that are on social media mean that they can attract the client who is looking for an experience. And you don't have to go too far to see how impactful this is. Just go to YouTube to see videos getting 500,000 views of a single traveler traveling to the hills to explore a maroon herbal medicine practice in the hills of Jamaica. Now, another thing that has also become a priority is home care. COVID-19 has encouraged potential clients and visitors to turn to self-care and to turn self-care into a lifestyle. Hence the need for product, personal care that is thoughtfully sourced and results-driven, inspired by local surroundings. Now, the visitor that travels is more aware and more informed. And as such, our products and services and standards must also rise and exceed these expectations where necessary. Which brings me to my next point. Support. The need for investment and support in our industry is important if all of our goals and visions will come to fruition. And we must break from the norm of seeing our wellness offering as spas or just simple isolated stations that embrace a surface level holistic experience. We are capable of so much more, and support is needed at the micro and macro level. There are ways, both long-term and short-term, that we can explore. A few of them, just 3 I've listed here. There are more, but I wanted to touch on these 3. One is offering tax incentives and fundings. Government and government agencies can offer tax incentives to wellness businesses and investors to encourage growth in the industry. This can include tax breaks for wellness-related investment. And I know some of these exist in a few islands, so this is not a broad brush that says everybody doesn't have it by any means. It could mean lowering taxes on wellness products and services and reducing rates for wellness businesses specifically. Governments can also provide funding and grants for wellness businesses to support their growth and development. Developing wellness-focused policies is also important because we need to prioritize the growth and development of the wellness industry on a whole. This can include policies that support the use of natural and organic products and encouraging sustainable and eco-friendly practices. We are a sustainable business, but funny enough, if you ask the average spa or wellness business owner, the majority of the products they use, if they do use products, are imported. So that is a big question mark for us. We can also look at collaborating between wellness businesses and resorts, guest houses, and Airbnbs with local communities. The third point I have here is providing training and education. Now, governments and investors can support this development of the Caribbean wellness industry by providing training and education for wellness professionals. Now, this can include offering certification programs for wellness practitioners, providing business training for wellness entrepreneurs, and offering educational programs that promote sustainable practices and innovations in our industry. Now, we cannot speak about wellness tourism without acknowledgement of the readiness of our wellness professionals to compete on a global market. The majority of what will make up the wellness product of the Caribbean is not going to be backed by international hotel brands. It will be people. Our natural gifted pool of professionals who mostly are self-taught, informally trained, decades of experience, and naturally gifted, who also happen to run a business. I say this to support my next point, which is that wellness professionals and entrepreneurs need to shift from just having a business and transition into mastering the business of wellness. The health and wellness industry, as most of my panelists have pointed out before, exists in what is considered of over $4 trillion potential revenue. Let that sink in. What percentage of that are we taking home? Support and investment can look like some examples: hosting and sponsoring business development forums for wellness business owners to network and learn from business strategy, branding and marketing to stand out in the global wellness market, inviting leaders and experts from other industries or other regions that have successfully marketed their products and services, and also by partnering with local suppliers of wellness products and services that can create a more sustainable, enriched relationship that will allow the chance for the person who might be underrepresented but has a fantastic quality product to gain the eyes of a wider audience. Funding and grant opportunities specifically for wellness services and product suppliers who have solid business plans and the potential to compete globally with of course, just with the injection of capital and investment. And to my final point as it relates to post-COVID-19 opportunity, a few things have happened since 2019. People's tastes and preferences have changed. which has been fueled by accessibility to wellness products at home, home care, digital. People's definition of wellness has also changed significantly. We see this locally with the workforce who has become accustomed to remote work lifestyles, and also internationally where this is being implemented on an even wider scale. Now, the wellness-minded traveler wants an impactful and restorative experience. Wellness has become a priority as opposed to it being just a niche, which is what we probably were approaching it as before. If we are to compete with the shifts in the consumer preference and the direction the wellness market is going, we should also explore some of these and assess our readiness to serve this segment of travel and tourism in the Caribbean region. Now, in conclusion, how do we support and continue to develop a diversified and competitive wellness product? Simply put, our region is ready, it needs to get ready, and it must be ready. We have limitless opportunity. We have untapped human and natural resources that require and still require development and support to become globally competitive. Let's tap into these immediate needs. The need for innovation and sustainability in the Caribbean wellness industry. With the global wellness tourism market continuing to grow, it is crucial for the Caribbean to stay ahead of the curve by innovating and adopting sustainable practices in its wellness offerings. Our products and services need to continue to be developed, tweaked, and enhanced to be ready for the visitor who has a higher expectation of us. This includes promoting local and organic ingredients and incorporating new wellness technologies and treatments into our service offerings. By staying at the forefront of innovation and sustainability, the Caribbean can enhance its competitiveness in the global wellness tourism market. The importance of collaboration and community. In the Caribbean, we are known for warm and welcoming culture, and this can be leveraged in the wellness tourism industry by fostering collaboration and community among wellness businesses through forums, on-the-ground, inter-country support groups, and even wellness satellite chapters. And in our case, for the Caribbean Spa and Wellness Association, we are not one landmass. We are a region that is separated by water. So travel sometimes becomes a challenge when we want to have one consensus. So it's important for each country in our region to have a strong, impactful wellness voice that speaks to their particular needs. An authentic Caribbean wellness experience can include partnerships between wellness resorts and local communities, promoting locally sourced ingredients and products, and by supporting local entrepreneurs. By working together, the Caribbean wellness industry can create a sustainable and competitive ecosystem that benefits both the travelers and our wellness community. Leveraging technology and digital marketing. Now, this is important because we are in an age where everything is just on your computer screen or in front of your face on your phone. And it is important for the Caribbean wellness industry to embrace technology and leverage it to increase its competitiveness. Now, this might include investment in digital marketing to promote the region's wellness offerings and unique experiences. We need a stronger social media visibility as collectively and individually. We need to be search engine optimized. I know that might sound like Greek to many of us, but it's important for us to understand that people need to see us. But in a sea of a million things to see, how do we stand out? And that's what that optimization means. The industry can also leverage technology to improve even the customer experiences. So for example, by offering a mobile app that allows guests to book treatments and activities prior to their arrival individually. And by embracing technology and digital marketing, the Caribbean can be what I would say ahead of the curve, or at least stay in the ballpark when it comes to competing with our more mature wellness product offerings, our wellness regions. Right. The last point here is incorporating niche wellness. Now, the Caribbean wellness tourism market has what I would consider more than just a niche. We are a melting pot of so many different experiences. And this can include incorporating niche wellness offerings such as mental wellness, spiritual wellness, eco-friendly wellness to attract a more diverse range of travelers. Additionally, the industry can offer customizable wellness packages that allows guests to tailor their experiences and their interests before they come. By offering a diverse range of wellness experiences, the Caribbean can attract a wider range of wellness traveler, which can then help to increase our competitiveness in the global tourism market. Now, this is my contribution to this discussion, but of course, there are many more points to explore. And I first want to say thank you for the opportunity, and I'm opening to continue this conversation. But before I go, we cannot be speaking about wellness before we pause for what I consider a wellness minute. So if you'll allow me to share a short exercise with you, if you're here and you're listening to the sound of my voice, I want you to just tap into the next 60 seconds and create a little bit of intentional focus on you. I'd like to take the next 60 seconds to refuel together. Now, in our excitement to reshape our wellness future and to assess our wellness past, I just want us to take a long, slow breath. Right here, right now. If you're listening to me, I want you to relax your shoulders. I want you to unclench your jaws. And I want you to take a slow, deep, fulfilling breath. Now, we've said a lot, we've heard a lot, and we will continue to experience a lot. But I want you for the next few seconds to think of each breath that you breathe as a chance to refill and empty, using your inhale to refill your lungs, relaxing as you do, refilling with clean energy, and to use every exhale to empty any residue your body doesn't need. The essence of who we are as humans is our ability to assist in replenishing our bodies with life-giving energy through breath. So for the next few breaths, I want you to just focus on your inhale, a gentle pause, an exhale, and a gentle pause. Now smooth out your forehead, just smooth it out and breathe. And I want you to intentionally focus on how you expand when you inhale and how you relax and release as you exhale. You could close your eyes if you wish to, but most importantly, I just want you to think about breathing. Breathing in slowly for a count of 4, then slightly pausing before exhaling for a count of 4. Leaving another second or 2 before returning to your inhale breath. For it is in this moment, the space in between your breath, that you find stillness, that you are present, that you are creating life force energy. And I want you to make every pause count. Don't worry about your phone. Don't worry about what's going on behind you. Just breathe and make every breath matter. Continue to breathe for a few more moments and tell yourself, I deserve this minute. I don't have to do anything but breathe right now. Thank your mind for being still enough to accept this. Thank your body for being relaxed enough to appreciate this, the gift of breath. Now, slowly, as we return to our scheduled program, I would like to thank you for sharing this space with me, and for the organizers of this forum, and for the CTO for inviting me, and for the SPAN wellness community in our region. I say thank you with gratitude.
Thank you so much, Ms. Duncombe. I did not realize that you know, the simplest of things, that that 1 minute pause to really focus on breathing and forgetting everything is just the quick rejuvenation one needs, as you know, to go ahead in your day. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your expertise with our audience, especially from your perspective as a practitioner in the wellness industry who sees the needs for policies and innovative programs to support the further development of wellness tourism products and experiences, and for us to become, you know, more competitive in this sphere. So thank you once again. And Zara, I'm going to direct you now to the Q&A. I'm just going to ask one question out loud, but there are a number that I'm going to invite you to, if you can spend some time with us looking at the questions and perhaps responding via text. I won't expect that you can answer all, as we have to go on to Mr. Murray's presentation, but there was one question as it related to how do we integrate nutritious foods and look at things like climate sensitivity and sustainable development into the Caribbean's tourism product. I don't know if you have any thoughts there, and if you don't have them right here and now to respond, we do invite you to go to the Q&A and respond to them for us. Anything you would like to add?
I could respond to that. Nutrition is very important. And I think that we have taken for granted that we have availability of fruits and vegetables throughout the year that in other parts of the world, they just don't, or they have to import it, which then lessens the nutritional strength of the imported product. So the first thing I will say is that and it's sad when I hear people say that we have a food shortage in the Caribbean, right? Because you hear it all the time talking about we don't have enough food to feed people, but we have land and we have soil and we have climate. So before we could talk about what goes on the table, we need to talk about what goes in the soil. And are we encouraging our communities? Are we encouraging the farming community to produce the things we need? Do we have the right relationships with the farmers when it comes to purchasing directly from them? Have we created sustainable relationships, especially for the places that have the hotels that have restaurants? I do know when I used to work at the Hyatt Regency here, we had something called Thoughtfully Sourced, and it was us making an intentional effort to have a certain percentage of the raw material used in our restaurants sourced from local farmers. Of course, meeting a specific standard because we are serving an international client, but we had to intentionally do that because we wanted to encourage farmers to have an outlet to sell their product. So before it gets to the table, the relationship with the farmer or accessibility points for the people who grew it needs to be solid. That's the first thing. How sustainable is that relationship? Can one farmer fulfill our needs? Probably not. Now then we take it a step further. After we've identified what is required, how do we create nutritionally balanced meals that complement what the visitor is looking for? We have to also remember that we might think it is good for us, but we have to remember that we are also seeking the validation of the people who are investing in it. Do we do a good enough job of promoting that we have a healthy, balanced diet here before a person arrives? I know Jamaica is a leader in that market because ITAL cuisine, and we have the Rastafarian community to thank for that, is something that we had or we continue to have because ITAL is a lifestyle, it's a livity, right? So if you want to now make it a Caribbean effort, each region or each country, in the region has to identify what is an authentic, healthy or health-based alternative to something that we do locally that we can promote as, okay, this is not your regular continental breakfast, this is a local breakfast, but it's a balanced breakfast. Yeah, we are a starch-heavy region. We are a carbs-heavy region. And I'm not saying nothing wrong. Everybody loves their provisions. But at the end of the day, how balanced is it for people who are looking for health and wellness? And how good are we at creating workshops to teach people after they eat from us, when they go back home, how do they shop? How do they create these meals at home? And that is an opportunity we have. And we are blessed with the region that has it in our soil. We could do better. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much again, Ms. Duncombe. That your insight was really appreciated. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
And I believe Troy Murray is back with us again from Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort. Troy, let's try that audio again.
Hi, Sarah. Can you hear me clearly?
There you go. There you
Oh my
go. So
God.
welcome back. And we're happy to be able to hear from a business in Tobago that has been utilizing the tools that we heard Dr. Indar speak about. So Mr. Murray, over to you.
Thank you. My name is Troy Murray. I'm the Food and Beverage Manager and Director of Operations at the Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort in beautiful Tobago in the Caribbean. Now, I'm happy to share my experience with you regarding our recent management of the COVID-19 and how we served our guests in a safe environment. We used 5 main pillars that we focused on, and they are our staff, our guests, the service that we provide, our partnership with the local health authority, and of course, the facilities. All staff were fortunate enough to have the opportunity to work full-time. And that gave us the opportunity to train and retrain our staff, given the new environment that we had to work with. Now, we divided our teams in two, Team A and Team B. And that was done primarily to limit the chance of spread from potential contacts between persons that came into contact with the COVID-19 virus. And it has happened once or twice where one member of a Team A came into contact, and because of COVID protocols, everyone that had contact with that person then had to be quarantined and tested. And we were able to continue our service to the guests because we had a Team B that had no cross interaction with Team A, and they were then able to come out and continue the service with no effect on the guest experience. Now, the staff were also mandated to wear personal protective wear based on the recommendations from our health partners. Additionally, the environment in which the staff worked were continuously cleaned and sanitized to ensure and to minimize the exposure to any pathogens that would present themselves. In addition to that, we would do a 3-time daily mist fogging of all the staff contact areas, where the staff were temporarily asked to vacate their work areas, and our engineering team came in and did a full mist of the area, and the staff returned, sanitized, and continued to work. And that worked fantastically. Throughout our experience, we had less than 5% incidences where our staff had exposure to the COVID-19. So that was the staff. Concerning our guests, all of the protocols and the practices that we implemented for our guests and staff safety was shared with our guests. And that was done digitally on our website, our Facebook page, which showed videos of some of our cleaning and sanitizing procedures, because we realized that our guests still wanted to travel, but they wanted to ensure that the environment that they would be staying would meet their own safety standards at home and even exceed them. So we did videos sharing the experiences and some of the practices, and they were varied based on the type of exposure that the guests, potential exposure that the guests would be exposed to. For example, in our guest rooms, once our guests checked into a room, there will be no interaction between the staff and the guests. So our housekeeping team did not go into the room. And even after the guests checked out, we allowed for a 48-hour period after the room was fully sanitized and stripped for the area to be fully ventilated and made safe again for a subsequent check-in. It did limit our ability to sell rooms, but when compared to the peace of mind that it brought to our guests who were considering staying with us, it worked fantastically. We also did a due diligence of all persons visiting the property, which includes staff, guests, and or vendors, which included a checklist of health questions that were recommended by our partners. Thirdly, a service to the guests. And all service varied based on the time of service as it relates to how much of an issue that COVID-19 was. And I will just focus briefly on the three different categories that we had to adjust our service to. One was when the pandemic was in full bloom. All common areas were limited. Our guests were not allowed to come into our restaurants, for example, or any of our community common areas, for example, the pools, tennis courts, gyms, and the like. So all food and beverage items were delivered to the guest room after placing the order by phone. Menus were provided in the room using a digital code that you can scan with your phone. And of course, telephone contact was also available for any clarity and to place orders. Once the food was delivered to the room, we would then place the food outside the guest room in a safe manner and invite the guests to collect the food outside the room, and they would then return with limiting the contact that they had with our staff. There was a second phase when the pandemic was a little bit relaxed, and we then had the opportunity to invite our guests to come back to our dining area. And so the two main strategies that we employed was to reduce the seating capacity and also to only provide takeaway meal options. So our guests can come into the restaurant, come to the buffet, take their meals in takeaway containers, and then take it back and have it accessed in their rooms. And then the final stage, when the pandemic was even more relaxed, we invited our guests to come back and dine with us in our restaurants. They were encouraged to keep their mask on and only take it off when they were seated at the table consuming their food and beverage. Our fourth pillar involved our partnership with our health partners. And this was one of the main important things for us. We had access to the health professionals that gave us continuous updates on the safety protocols. They also were available to assist us with any potential issues that may have arisen with our guests, and they were quick to respond, offering guidance over the phone and in person where necessary. And I want to take this opportunity to commend our health team here in Tobago for doing a fantastic job. Without them, our Magdalena Hotel would not have been able to stay open. And finally, the final pillar that made everything work for us, of course, was the facility. Our facility was continuously sanitized offering services to our guests that sanitized all their personal belongings on arrivals, offering sanitizing of all the public areas of high contact, the lobby areas, front desk, concierge, and the like. And our friends in the transportation sector, they also partnered with us in offering a safe environment for guests in their transportation to and from the airport. So it is important, as I close, to highlight these 5 main pillars as we, as a tourism-based business, will no doubt in the future be exposed to other similar health concerns, and with the guidance that has been provided by CARFA and our local health authority, we are now in a very good place where we can continue to provide a service and meet the needs of our guests, given any potential issue that can arise. Thank you for the opportunity to share.
Thank you so much, Mr. Murray, for sharing the experience of Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort. It's so important to see how these tools that have been created, how they're being used to assist businesses. And we're very glad to hear that of Tobago's specific experience in terms of working and collaborating with the health officials, as well as utilizing the tools created by CARFA and partners to not only see you through what would have been a challenging period in terms of COVID-19, but as you said, as you're prepared and in a position where you can address anything that, any other health issue that may present itself. So thank you once again, Mr. Murray, to you and to your team at Magdalena Grand. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your patience. I now want to invite Mr. Frank Comito, Special Advisor and former Chief Executive Officer and Director General at the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, to provide us with a brief update on the Regional Tourism Health Capacity Enhancement and Digitization Project, which you heard Mr. Walters mention at the start of our forum, as well as to deliver closing remarks and vote of thanks. Mr. Comito, over to you.
Thank you, Sharon, and thank you, everyone. I'll wrap up fairly quickly because I know we're pressed for time. But briefly, we're so pleased that CHTA and CTO and CARFA were able to secure a grant, a public goods grant from the IDB for a collaborative project on regional tourism health capacity enhancement and digitization, and advancing the traveler health assurance for healthier, safer tourism. There's 3 components to this project. We're on the last legs of it, putting together some products that and support services that you'll be able to tap into. But the one component, and the whole purpose is to basically advance and implement the Caribbean Travelers Health Assurance Stamp and the Healthier, Safer Tourism program, which Dr. Indar had referenced in her presentation, and to create greater harmonization and expansion of the digital information that's collected online, and help to bolster our management information system even more so we have better data, more timely data that we can draw from. And then finally, to update and implement training and capacity building efforts. There's 3 components and 3 lead consultant teams around each of those components, and we'll be rolling some of that out fairly soon. First component is to improve our communications around the promoting and advancing the Travelers Health Assurance Stamp for a healthier, safer tourism. And that's being developed by Marketplace Excellence, a PR agency. And with that, there'll be an opportunity for awareness building and for generating greater support for the stamp and the online resources that CARFA has developed. there will be a toolkit that's available on that fairly shortly. By the way, there are 3 pilot countries that we're working closely with on this: Belize, Barbados, and the Bahamas. But the products and services will be available to everyone. The second component is on the technology enhancement and digitization, improving the data collection process, and that's being undertaken internally within CTO. The third component is capacity development, training, and promotion. We want to build we're actually creating several training courses, working with a company called Velsoft, which has worked with CTO and CHTA on a range of training resources that are being made available to the industry and will be rolling out in the coming months, along with several courses that are going to be very contextual to health safety. And Velsoft will be launching those. We're anticipating that they'll be launched sometime no later than early May. So the project, I'm very appreciative to the Inter-American Development Bank for providing these resources. And again, it's a collaboration between CTO, CHTA, and CARFA. In wrapping up our session today, today's session just underscores to me the power of and the truth of the adage that crisis presents opportunity. If you didn't listen to the range of presentations today and see that there's tremendous opportunity that we've already garnered from this crisis situation, but more that can be realized, it was very evident in the depth and breadth of these presentations. I want to thank, first of all, the ministers of tourism, regional directors of tourism, commissioners of tourism, tourism association, hotel and tourism association executives, and others who are the members and affiliate members of CTO and CHTA, and representatives from CARFA's countries as well who were able to participate, and certainly thank the attendees for your participation. We'd also like to thank our distinguished speakers, Neil Walters, who set the stage for us with some very thought-provoking opening remarks and data, and Nicola Madden-Gregg, CHTA president, who expanded on that comprehensively and gave us some excellent information that we can draw from. And not only that, she gave us a roadmap for the future. She suggested a number of areas of focus for the future. I want to thank Troy Murray, who's the restaurant and bar manager at the Magdalena Grand Beach and Gold Resort in Tobago, a tourism health program awarded accommodation facility, for sharing their experiences gained from participating in the THPA program and utilizing the tools. And special thanks is given to Ms. Zahara Duncan, who's the chairman of the Caribbean Spa and Wellness Association, and wears a number of other hats, who gave us an insightful presentation on the topic of the wellness tourism market opportunities and opportunities for Caribbean tourism diversification and competitiveness. I had not heard before the term the Callaloo pot, and how it's an example of a great mix of opportunities and taste and blends of flavors of the Caribbean. And we know that Callaloo, while there's, Callaloo when you're eating it, but we also know that there's a little difference in the Callaloo between, say, St. Croix and Jamaica. So she emphasized the power of the diversity of what we have in the Caribbean as well, even though we're all part of one Caribbean, the many, many diverse aspects of what we offer. We want to thank Dr. Lisa Indar, who provided an overview and of the resources developed by CARFA and the support that they played. They've been an exceptional partner, and I can say without any hesitation that the recovery of tourism in the Caribbean would not have been possible without the leadership of CARFA and the support roles that we've played at CTO and CHTA and the other organizations that have worked with CARFA around this. And of course, the ministers and chief medical officers, ministers of health, tourism, and so on. It's been a real public-private sector collaborative effort regionally and in many of our jurisdictions. And we're going to highlight more of that at the upcoming tourism research conference, the health health and tourism research event that CARF is putting on in the Bahamas in a couple of weeks. I echo the sentiments of Mr. Walters in thanking our donor and partner, the Inter-American Development Bank, for the continued financial and technical assistance to enhance tourism's growth and resilience. I believe you'd agree with me that the presentations and discussions were undeniably relevant and provided much food for thought as the region continues to navigate post-COVID-19 and into a whole new era of tourism. I'd like to also thank a special thank you to Ms. Sharon Banfield for chairing today's forum, and Ms. Sharon Coward for handling the IT arrangements. And finally, I also wish to thank those who have worked in the background to make this possible, including representatives from CTO, CHTA, CARFA, and Marketplace Excellence for assisting in organizing the forum and facilitating our outreach. And last but certainly not least, special thank you to our attendees for being attentive and engaged throughout the forum proceedings. As goes the Caribbean, as goes the world, wellness is so much critical. We have the opportunity in our region to help the world to heal and be better. Thank you.
And with that, we wish everyone a healthy and productive week.